Are you doing your soul work, the work you were called to do? And does that even matter? As somebody who's spent more than 20 years exploring this question and applying it to my life, I can tell you there's a lot of different ways to approach this, and there is no one right answer. But there are a few things you can do to help put yourself on the right path. The first thing is to consider that your soul work might not be what you do for a living. Now, there's different schools of thoughts on this. Some people will say, well, you do what you love and the money will follow. That was a very popular book written years ago, very good book. And then there's other people that will say, well, actually do what you can do to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time and then take time off. In my experience, as somebody who's gone back and forth between those two, for me, it's been actually a hybrid of the two. There are certain parts of work that I can do that are steadier, and there are certain parts that are more exciting. But in all of it, I do need to be doing my soul work somewhere. If I'm not doing that, that really does seem to upset me or bother me or have me off kilter. Now, there's a question that a lot of people ask that goes to the core of, or is intended to go to the core of, what would your soul work be? And the question goes like this. Imagine if you had a huge amount of money. Sometimes people say, if you had $100 million in the bank, what would you do with your free time, knowing that you don't have to work? As somebody who's answered that question many times over the last 20 years, I can tell you that at least for me, while that question is very useful and helpful, it has led me more to what would my ideal lifestyle be? Well, I'd be on the beach, I'd be playing volleyball, I'd be wakeboarding, I'd be going skiing, whatever it is. That's more of my lifestyle. I found that my answer to the question of what is my purpose is almost the exact opposite. What is the work that I would do that I might never get paid for, and I'd do it anyway? So if you're a parent, maybe you can relate to this. There's so many things as parents we do, nobody's paying us for directly at least, and nobody's saying, oh, okay, here you go, let's put some money in your account. You just got up in the middle of the night and fed your kid. Awesome. And yet that's something that we believe in, and we want to help our kids, so we do that. And so in all of this, I definitely am looking for the lifestyle that is as close as possible to what would I do if I had $100 million in the bank. I'd like that. And at the same time, I want to be mindful that I'm looking at what is the work I would do even if I weren't getting paid for it. And if I can find a way to marry the two, that's great. If I can't, that's okay too. Second thought on this. Some people say you have to do your soul work or you just, it'll really bother you, it'll eat away at you. I can tell you from my experience, I've watched people do their soul work and come to hate it. I've watched people do something that was a hobby, that was their passion, and try to make money at it and come to hate it. I've also seen people that do it and are successful at it. So there's no exactly right answer. When people think about professional athletes, whether it be a Dwayne Wade or a LeBron James or some famous quarterback or whatever it might be, very often they'll think about, oh, well, this person, they get to do what they want. And yet, anybody who knows anything about high-level athletics, to get to the top level, yeah, they might have maybe 2 or 3 times a week where for 30 minutes, they get to be on stage, front and center, in front of all the people. But in order to make that happen, they're investing a lot of time doing things that they might not want to do to get to where they want to be. So there's not a specific answer as far as I've found regarding, do you have to do your soul work in your job day in and day out or not? But I've definitely found that if you can get clear about what it is you're here to do, to give, and those are very often many different things, that if you can make sure you're doing those, you're going to be a happier person. You might have different roles. You might say, well, as a parent, I do this. As a child, I do this. As a friend, I do this. As a worker, I do this. So it doesn't have to be that your life purpose is only defined by your work. That's something that in the Western cultures we've kind of come to in the last 10 to 20 to 50 years, and making perhaps too much of work and thinking that our life purpose is so tied to that, and yet knowing that maybe that's one of our purposes or a piece of our life purpose. I hope this serves you. If you need help creating your plan to start creating a 4-day work week and get in touch with what are the things that make the most money for you, and then what are the things that allow you to help the most people, and then also separately, or perhaps the same, what are the things that help you live your purpose. Go to 4daygameplan.com. That's the number 4daygameplan.com, and you can get started creating your plan. As always, I look forward to helping you make more money in less time, doing what you do best. Let me know whatever I can do to help you. Thank you.